Hi everyone, this is Tori, and this is my presentation on strategic reading. So I hope you all enjoy it. So first, what is strategic reading? And after watching the videos and just really kind of taking some time to reflect on it, I thought that strategic reading really encompassed being able to make connections from the reading to the real world, whether it be our own experience, society, or another class, and critical thinking before, during, and after reading. So being able to question what we're going to be reading about, what we're reading about currently, and then reflecting back, saying, all right, I just read this, now what am I thinking, what am I gonna be questioning now? What questions do I have about the reading now? So there were 3 sections that I thought were pretty important: pre-reading, during reading, and post-reading. And in pre-reading, the main examples I got were building background and excitement and building confidence to go into the lesson. So in one of the pre-reading videos, when doing Catcher in the Rye, the teacher had them read quotes and try and build background and get an idea as to what was going to happen in the book. And I think that this would really work in a Spanish classroom as well if we were reading, for example, La Casa Tomada by Julio Cortázar. I could give them snippets from the book as well as examples of Peronismo from Argentina, which is what the book is reflecting. It's reflecting Peronismo and the government during the time. So being able to give them that idea of, okay, this story is relating to X, Y, and Z in Argentina at the time, based off of these quotes, they'll have a little bit easier time understanding the content of the story and how it relates to that society at the time, because it is a science fiction story. In during reading, it's important, one thing I took away was having a focus question for students to think about, as well as repetition and modeling. And in both videos, they had a lot of focus questions. For example, was the U.S. planning on invading Vietnam before the Gulf of Tonkin? And as well as when they were looking at sources, during the reading, looking at their sources, the teacher would constantly be showing her thought process to help students learn that thought process and do it when they were reading as well. And in a Spanish class, I think that this could also be used, going back to my Casa Tomada example, giving them the focus question of how does this story reflect Peronismo, to get them to think about the government as well as the story, and just constantly, as we're going paragraph by paragraph through the story, just repeating my thought process of, okay, so I see this portion of the story where the part of the house is getting taken. Maybe this means part of when Peronismo was taking the people's land in Argentina. Going just back to that thought process of critical thinking during the reading. And in post-reading, the things I took away were the ability to question the story and critically think about the story, creating questions and reflecting on that story with peers, as well as connecting stories you've read to other stories based on whether it could be content, plot, theme, etc., etc. And in the final video on post-reading, they were doing this with 3 different stories by 3 different authors, which I thought was really pretty successful. And one of the stories was written by a Spanish author, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and that story actually is very similar to Casa Tomada, as I was talking about with my previous 2 examples, because even though Marquez's story does not reflect Peronismo, it still has a theme of magical realism, which is present in Casa Tomada as well. So that would be a great connecting theme to connect those 2 stories as well, even though it doesn't represent Peronismo. But with Casa Tomada, you can also connect that story to other stories that he's written and other Spanish stories as well. Whether it reflects Peronismo or other Spanish governments at the time, it's a great way to bridge that understanding and reflect on how these stories can connect and intertwine with other authors and other stories as well, which I thought was really something special. So overall, I think strategic reading is really important, and I think that it would be a great idea to incorporate into my Spanish classroom, and I think it's a great idea for all teachers to incorporate in general. And I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and I can't wait to read and watch all of yours. Thank you. Bye.